This one is from Twitter. Brother Grimace says, talk about predispositions, Don, of mistrust and how to overcome that. Who wants to take that one? Do you want to take it, Al?
Sure. You only overcome it by having the honest, deep dialogue. You have to get to where people can say what they really think and what they really feel. We've created a PC world where you can't say anything that may be seen as wrong, and if you create that environment, you're never going to get the real honest answer. So the reality is we should be able to say what we think, what we feel. That's how you get to solutions.
And some of the honest answers may actually hurt you. I mean, you may go away from this with some hurt feelings, but you know, hurt feelings often make you grow. Anytime you stretch and grow, it's going to hurt a little bit, whether it's professionally, personally, no matter what it is. I want to go back to James because James, someone said, I don't remember the name of the person who sent it, but whoever you are, you know who you are. They said, sadly, Don, some of the conversations happening online are not so constructive.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, there's not a online is a place where people, you know, are saying things that are not positive, are saying things that are, you know, confounded in stuff that doesn't make sense. And that's why we need to use the online space, I think, as social media to bring folks together. I mean, it's a great place to show the divide, the racial divide of how people feel about this subject.
So even if the online conversation, Buck, is not that constructive, right? Does it still need to be seen, or do you still need to have that, or should there be some sort of control or parameters placed on these types of conversations?
Well, I think if the conversation is not constructive, it doesn't need to be happening, because I think people will just bury themselves in stereotyping other people, and you might set us back instead of moving us forward. If it's not constructive, it's not positive, it doesn't need to be happening.
Okay, so Ronald, go ahead, Ronald. I was going to call on you. Go for it.
But what I was going to say is that you had to have the conversation there, and there's going to be negatives. Part of the thing that one of the things that should be happening is not only should the president be having a conversation with Gates and Crowley, he should be having a town hall meeting with people from the criminal justice community, African Americans, other police organizations to talk about this issue. This is a very real issue. For example, Senator Webb, Senator Biden, before he became vice president, proposed legislation to address some of these disparities that's in the criminal justice system. And we keep putting it off because we're concerned about hurting someone's feelings. The fact of the matter is that we need to look at these issues. I wanted to, I mean, I agree with the two experts there, but one of the things, I know that they're familiar with some of the work of people like Peggy McIntosh out of the University of Mass, and Dr. Edwin Nichols, who was here in Washington and now at Harvard. And I mean, there's such a thing as white privilege in this country. There's also such a thing as that if you're not working on these issues to get rid of them.
Stand by. I know if you're not working on those issues, because that's really sort of at the bottom of this. And I'll talk to Al. You want to tag up that? And I know you want to talk about privilege as well. Go for it. He says if you don't address white privilege, then you're not really addressing the issue at all.
Exactly. And quite often that gets overlooked. The reason why President Obama has had to dial back is because the feeling of, well, it has to be an issue that's talked about, but if he says it, if he brings it up, there's a problem with him bringing the issue up. That's why it was important that somebody asked him the question, and quite honestly, in the black community, what I've heard is everybody saying, yes, I'm so glad he actually addressed the issue.
Right.
He cannot bring it up because he's looked at as if, oh, there you go. See what happens when you let him get in the office. Look what he does.
Look what happens when a black man gets in office. He does that. So let's just say
he used it as a teachable moment to teach.
Right. Okay, so and we got to run. But Buck, I want to say this. White privilege, you have this whole thing on white privilege that I find interesting. You said, and it's on class. It's not, it just happens to be white. It's the same thing with people who have money. You're not aware of your privilege because you have it. Talk to us about that.
Well, I think that white privilege has been one of the largest source of frustration for me over the last decade of doing this work, is that white people simply denying that there is no issue. And then you have Barack Obama get into the presidency in the office, and we go, look, we got a black fella here. There is no racism. There's no barrier to these folks. You can rise up and you can achieve what he's achieved.
And that's what
the fact of the matter is that while opportunity exists across America, opportunity does not exist in the same form and fashion for everybody. People of color experience barriers that white people don't experience. Rich people don't have the same experiences people of different socioeconomic class. Privilege is a concept that I think that should be on the radar screen of all Americans.
Buck. We've got to run.
Wow,
Buck,
yeah.
Al, Ronald, and of course James. Thank you all. We could have this conversation,
Yeah,
you know,
could.
all day long. And thank you. I'm sorry everybody didn't get in. We're going to try to have it again at 10 o'clock this evening. A lot of these folks are going to join us, so make sure you join us at 10 p.m. Eastern here on CNN. So I want to say this is a sad note. We want to say goodbye to a literary pioneer, a favorite for millions of women. That'll happen next in the newsroom. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. That was great.